Under the vast sky, the Buddha sat beneath a towering tree, radiating a sense of peace and wisdom. A soft breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers, blending with the rustle of bamboo leaves nearby. His presence exuded tranquility, as if the very essence of peace had taken form within him. "My dear disciples," the Buddha began, his voice tender yet commanding. "The heart is like a fertile field, awaiting cultivation." "Ananda," he began, his voice calm yet resonant, "observe the bamboo before us. Let it be your teacher for today," he continued. "The bamboo grows tall and resilient, yet it bends gracefully when the wind demands its submission. This flexibility is its strength, for it neither breaks nor resists the natural forces surrounding it," the Buddha explained. The disciples listened intently, their eyes fixed on the grove, as the bamboo seemed to echo the Buddha's words. "The bamboo gives shelter and support to countless lives. From the birds above to the earthworms below," he said, "it grows without greed, taking only what it needs, and gives back without condition or attachment," the Buddha added. "This is the principle of non-harm, ahimsa, to live and build without causing suffering to others or to nature." Ananda nodded slowly, absorbing the wisdom, as the Buddha gestured towards a carpenter working nearby on a small structure. The carpenter shapes wood with skill, yet does not destroy the forest indiscriminately, respecting its existence and future, he remarked. "A dwelling, whether simple or grand, should embody this respect, ensuring harmony between human needs and nature's balance," he instructed. One disciple, curious, inquired, "Master, what of those who build without thought, disrupting the earth and its creatures?" The Buddha turned his gaze towards the horizon, where a patch of land lay barren from excessive woodcutting and soil erosion. "Such actions arise from ignorance and craving, disregarding the interconnectedness that binds all life," he said solemnly. "To take without giving, to destroy without considering consequences, is to invite suffering upon oneself and the world," he explained. A young villager approached, hesitantly, asking, "Lord, how can we build homes while preserving the forest and its spirit?" The Buddha smiled gently, replying, "Use materials that nature provides abundantly and renewably, like bamboo, mud, and stone. Build with compassion, ensuring that the act of creation does not lead to destruction or disharmony," he continued. Patiently, the carpenter paused his work to listen, his hand still holding a chisel as the Buddha's words reached his heart. "To build sustainably is to honor the impermanence of all things. For nothing we create is eternal," the Buddha stated. "Even the strongest structure will one day crumble, returning to the earth from which it was formed," he explained. Understanding impermanence, anicca, helps us build wisely, avoiding excess, and respecting the resources entrusted to us, he said. A sparrow landed near the Buddha's feet, chirping softly, as though affirming the importance of coexistence and balance. The sparrow takes twigs and leaves for its nest, but never more than it needs, the Buddha observed, inspired by nature's simplicity. Our creations should serve life, not merely display wealth or power, he advised. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances. Their understanding deepened, as the Buddha gestured for them to stand and follow him, walking through the bamboo grove. The Buddha pointed to an old hut, its walls weathered but its essence intact. This hut shelters its owner and asks nothing in return. A testament to the virtue of humility, he commented. To dwell humbly is to live lightly on this earth, leaving it as vibrant as we found it, he said. The grove's symphony of sounds seemed to harmonize with the Buddha's words, reinforcing the timelessness of his teaching. Our purpose is not to dominate nature but to coexist as one thread within the fabric of existence, he declared. He stopped near a stream, its waters clear and flowing, reflecting the sky and nourishing the roots of nearby trees. water flows freely, sustaining life without discrimination. Let our actions mirror its generosity and purpose, the Buddha suggested. Ananda bowed deeply, his heart filled with gratitude. As the disciples resolved to embody the wisdom they had received, the sun began its descent, casting golden hues upon the grove. As the bamboo stood tall, silent yet eloquent, in that moment, the disciples saw the grove not just as trees but as living exemplars of the Buddha's teachings. Nature and the Dharma became inseparable in their minds, guiding them in every choice, every action, and every breath. The Buddha, serene and steadfast, watched the disciples disperse, carrying his words like seeds to be sown far and wide. The night approached, but the wisdom imparted that day glowed like an unextinguishable flame within the hearts of his followers. Another day, another journey brought the Buddha and his disciples to a bustling village known for its craftsmanship in clay. The village sprawled around a central pottery workshop where artisans shaped clay into vessels for daily use. The Buddha observed the rhythmic movements of the potter, his hands skillfully molding a lump of clay. The disciples gathered around, intrigued by the craftsmanship and the harmony between the potter and his material. The Buddha spoke, his voice calm and filled with wisdom. Friends, observe the potter at work, and reflect on his connection to the earth. The potter paused his work, humbly bowing to the Buddha, and listened with reverence to the unfolding lesson. This clay, the Buddha said, gesturing toward the spinning wheel, is the gift of the earth. It holds within it life's essence. His hands formed a graceful gesture, as though embodying the very essence of letting go. A child from the nearby village approached, timidly, holding a wilted flower. One disciple, curious and eager, asked, "Master, should we not seek permanence in what we build, so our efforts endure?" The Buddha turned his gaze to the disciple, his words carrying the weight of truth. What is truly permanent? All things arise, persist, and eventually fade away. He gestured to the clay vessel the potter had just shaped, its contours smooth and sturdy, yet destined to crumble, just as this vessel will serve its purpose before returning to the earth. So too do all forms dissolve. The villagers gathered closer, their interest in the teaching growing as they saw their work reflected in the Dharma. The Buddha addressed them directly, his words flowing like the river nearby. The earth provides generously, and we must honor its gifts without greed or recklessness. He continued, to build sustainably, one must respect the cycles of nature and create without harming the balance that sustains all life. It requires patience, perseverance, and the willingness to confront your own limitations with compassion. The sun began its descent, casting a golden hue over Jetavana as the meditation session concluded. It is the truth that liberates, showing us that clinging is futile. The sun dipped lower, casting golden hues over the gathering. As the disciples prepared to depart, the Buddha spoke once more, his voice resonating with timeless wisdom. Carry this practice with you, nurturing the seed of loving kindness in every thought, word, and action, he said. He elaborated, what we build can inspire, serve, and bring comfort, but it must not come from attachment to permanence. The disciples reflected deeply, their minds turning over the profound teachings of impermanence and interconnectedness. The grove of Jetavana, now steeped in the energy of their meditation, stood as a silent witness to the profound exchange of wisdom and compassion. As the Buddha watched his disciples disperse, his heart brimmed with hope for the world. It transforms craft into a path of awakening. The Buddha addressed the crowd, his voice resonating with the clarity of his teachings. All acts of creation are woven into the fabric of life. He gestured to the tools used by the potter, their simplicity underscoring the essence of sustainable creation. Use tools and materials wisely, knowing their source and their eventual return to nature. The sun rose gently over the horizon, bathing the fields in golden light. The Buddha and his disciples entered a small village where famine had taken its toll on the people. Shadows of despair lingered in the eyes of the villagers, their faces gaunt from hunger. The Buddha walked among them, his presence a quiet comfort amidst their suffering. Villagers departed the gathering with newfound reverence for their craft and the teachings of the Buddha. The apprentice remained, his questions still lingering. Master, what is the balance between creation and simplicity? The Buddha replied, balance arises from intention, from knowing the purpose of creation and aligning it with the principles of the Dharma. He added, simple does not mean absent of beauty or function. It means harmony, awareness, and understanding of what is sufficient. The apprentice nodded, his youthful face marked with contemplation, and returned to his work, his movements deliberate and mindful. The Buddha turned to his disciples and said, even in clay, the earth teaches us impermanence, interconnectedness, and the truth of non-attachment. He gestured toward the distant mountains, their peaks shrouded in clouds, and said, observe nature as your teacher, always guiding us to live wisely. The disciples bowed to the Buddha, their hearts filled with gratitude for the teachings that illuminated their journey toward understanding. The village settled into quiet, the hum of the spinning wheel echoing as the moon rose in the night sky. Another day had passed, and with it, the Buddha's timeless wisdom had left its mark on minds and hearts. Another day, another walk led the Buddha and his disciples to an ancient structure, worn by time yet majestic in form. The walls were weathered, the roof crumbled, and moss-covered stones that once spoke of grandeur. The disciples observed the ruins with curiosity, their thoughts filled with questions about impermanence and decay. The Buddha stood at the center of the sight, his gaze calm, taking in the remnants of human endeavor and nature's embrace. The disciples hesitated, their thoughts clouded by the scarcity of their own provisions. The Buddha observed their reluctance without judgment, his silence like a mirror reflecting their inner struggle. He gestured to the walls, their stones layered with care, now fragmented and scattered like memories fading into the vastness of time. Observe how even what seems enduring will one day yield to the forces that shape and reshape all existence, he said. Another disciple, Ananda, added, Master, yet the space within these walls seems untouched by time, holding stillness amid the ruins. The Buddha turned to Ananda and smiled. You have observed well, Ananda. The space remains, its essence unchanged by the decay of form. The disciples pondered the insight, their minds grappling with the notion of form and formlessness, of what endures and what does not. The Buddha continued, this structure, though crumbling, serves as a teacher, showing us the truth of utility found in emptiness. He walked to an archway, its edges jagged yet framing the sky beyond, and said, what remains is not the material but the space it once framed. The disciples followed his gaze, seeing how the sky became part of the structure, its openness defining the ruins. One disciple asked, Lord, how should we build, knowing that all structures will fall to impermanence and return to the earth? The Buddha replied, build with purpose and awareness, creating not for permanence but to serve the needs of the present moment. He elaborated, each dwelling should honor the truth of interconnectedness, reflecting the needs of community and the rhythms of the natural world. The disciples listened intently, their understanding deepened by the interplay of form, function, and the inevitability of change. The Buddha added, as the walls of this structure once held space for life and activity, so must our creations hold meaning. A villager nearby, inspired by the discourse, asked, Lord, how can we create with care, so our works align with the Dharma? The Buddha addressed the villager, To create with care is to understand the purpose and impact of our actions. Guided by mindfulness and compassion, his gaze swept over the gathering, his presence an anchor in their turbulent sea of despair. A child, no older than 7, approached the Buddha, holding a broken toy. He continued, "A structure can become a bridge between generations, conveying lessons of humility, harmony, and the impermanence of all achievements." The child reached out, touching a stone, and the Buddha said, "Even this touch carries the seed of understanding." Passed through time, the disciples reflected on the teachings. Their thoughts intertwined with the echoes of life that once filled the space they now stood in. The Buddha concluded, "Create with the wisdom of impermanence, the compassion of interconnectedness, and the humility to serve life rather than ego." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the ruins, the site seemed to breathe with the teachings. The disciples bowed to the Buddha, their hearts and minds filled with gratitude for the lessons rooted in the ancient stones. The villagers departed with reverence, their steps lighter, carrying the wisdom of creation and impermanence. The Buddha turned to the horizon and said, "Let this place remind us always to build with purpose, harmony, and awareness of the cycles of life." The disciples followed him as he walked on, their journey continuing, shaped by the truths woven into the fabric of existence. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.